Warm greetings to one and all. Today, my goal is to help you understand the ionic concentration and the ionic balance in fish. And my topic for the day is osmoregulation in fish. As you know, water is one of the basic needs of all living things. And all living things on earth, they require water. And it's one of the essentiality of all the living things. And you know why? It's because the chemical reactions that sustains or supports life, it could happen only in aqueous environment. So it's a reason why the animals or the land animals, we drink in a lot of water so as to have the water inside our body. But what about fish? These fish, how do these fish living in an aqueous environment maintain or take in water into their body? And the question is, do these fish drink water? And the answer to that is maybe yes or no. Why? Because it solely depends on the type of fish and the environment in which they live in. And it's basically because of the reason or the phenomenon or the process known as osmosis. Osmosis is a phenomenon wherein we have the transport of the water molecules or the solvent particles from their higher concentration to the lower concentration. And as I said, the drinking of water in fishes. And this freshwater fish, they do not drink water or they do not take in water. But the marine fish, they drink in or take in plenty of water so as to maintain their ionic concentration. And now, what is osmosis? Osmosis is a phenomenon or a process which takes place in a semi-permeable membrane. We have the semi-permeable membrane, and here the water molecules on either side of this semi-permeable membrane, their concentration is different. So we have the movement of the solvent particles, or else to say the water molecules, from their higher concentration towards their lower concentration until the concentration is maintained equal. Right? And next, moving on to the next slide. Here it's a picture showing the various movement of the water molecules with regard to the various tonic solutions. And in the first case, we have the hypertonic solution wherein the water moves out from the molecule and thereby causing the shrinkage of cells. Whereas in isotonic solution, what happens is the concentration of the water molecules or the salt concentration is the same, either be it inside the cell or outside the cell. So there's an equal movement of water molecules between these cells. And then we have this hypertonic solution wherein we have solvent concentration on a higher side outside when compared to the cells. So we have the movement of these water molecules into these cells. And now we move on with the osmoregulation. And what exactly is osmoregulation? See, it's the regulation of the total ion concentration. This is the topic for our day. And we have the osmoregulation. It could be broadly classified into the osmoconformers or the osmoregulators. The osmoregulation, as I said, it is a regulation of the total ion concentration. And different animals, say the fish, as in our case, they adopt different strategies so as to maintain this osmotic balance. And you see, this osmoregulation is actually an energy-intensive process wherein a high amount of energy is spent or expended, and it could affect the growth and also the swimming movements of the fish. And the broad categories here is the osmoconformers and the osmoregulators, depending on the strategies how they adopt the mechanism, right? And coming to osmoconformers, here the osmoconformers, rather, they do not spend their energy to make or to create a balance between the ionic concentrations. Rather, what they do here is they maintain an internal salinity which is identical to all the the environment in which they live. The common examples of this group of fishes, they include the primitive fishes, or say for example the hagfish, the mixin, etc. And next, coming to the next classification, that is the osmoregulators. Here the osmoregulators, they have got different mechanisms so as to maintain their internal osmolarity. So why? Because the internal osmolarity is a bit different from the surrounding environment in which they live. So they do, or they adopt different kinds of mechanisms so as to so as to maintain this ionic concentration between their body and the environment in which they live in. And these osmoregulators, it just comes under the broad classification, or to say the major strategy adopted by the various fishes so as to maintain their ionic concentration. And the major group comes under both the freshwater and the marine fish. Coming to the next slide, here I have shown the osmotic mechanism of adopted by this freshwater fish. How they do is that because I said we have got different types of solutions: the hypertonic, the isotonic, and the hypotonic. And with regard to this freshwater fish, you see the body of this freshwater fish, it has got different types of salts, and the concentration of salts inside the body of these fishes, they are at a highest concentration when compared to the freshwater in which they live in. So what happens? There is a concentration or high concentration of water molecules outside the body. In turn, what happens is that the water from the environment, it just moves into the body of the fish through the gills and the skin. The water from this fresh water, we have got a higher concentration of the water molecules or the solvent molecules in the environment in which they live. So, as per osmosis, or through the process of osmosis, we have got these water molecules. It gets into the body of these fish through their gills or the skin. Why? Because these gills and the skin, they serve as a semi-permeable membrane. Right? So, these fish, they do not need to drink in water. Okay, so this is a figure showing the mechanism of this fish, that is the intake of water, the diffusion or the osmosis of water into the body, and then we have got the diffusion of ions out to the outside or to the environment in which they live in. See, here the freshwater fish, as I said, they just operate hyperosmotically. Why? Because they have the salt concentration or the ionic concentration inside their body that is at a higher level when compared to the environment in which they live in. So, as a result, water moves from the environment or the aqueous medium into their body. So, what happens if water moves into the body of the fish? See, of course, the fish would get swollen, right? Because water is continuously moving into the body of the fish. So, these fish, they gain water into the body. And as a result, they are going on gaining continuously they are gaining this water. So, they have got, or they just accumulate much water inside their body. So, they just excrete out this water. How they do this is through their well-developed kidneys. They have got well-developed kidneys, and they excrete enormous amounts of dilute urine. And I said these fish, they excrete enormous amounts of dilute urine. So, this urine, when this water or when urine is excreted out, there are every chances that the salt also gets excreted out. So, here comes in the role of the chloride cells. The chloride cells, they are specialized cells. They are seen in the gills of fish. So, these cells, what they do is that they just, with the help of some enzymes, they just bring in, or they just intake the sodium or the potassium ions into the body of the fish. And thereby, they maintain their osmotic balance. Right? And now we have, we are just moving on to the marine fish. And marine fish, the case is just opposite as when we compare it to the freshwater fish. Okay, see, marine fish we have got here. What happens in marine fish, or how do they do their osmotic or their ionic concentration in marine fish? See, we have got this fish living in the marine environment, right? So, the marine environment, they have got a salt concentration at a higher level than the body of the fish, or when compared to the body of the fish. Okay. So what happens here is that, see, water, what I said, as per the process or as per the phenomenon of osmosis, water always moves from the body, from the region of their higher concentration to the region of their lower concentration. So as a result, water just moves out from their body. So what happens? Naturally, what happens? See, the fish goes on losing its water. So just to recover from this loss of water, what they do is they just drink enough water or plenty of water, so as to compensate for the water loss and thereby maintain the osmotic balance. And then see here in the next slide, we'll just move on to the next slide. The next slide, see, I have shown the picture again. See here, we have got the different movements of the ions as well as the water molecules from the body of the fish and into the body of the fish. So here what I said is that, see, the water, it just moves out from the body of the fish to the surroundings, right? It's because they operate hypoosmotically. So there always occurs the loss of water. Okay, they lose water from their body. And so as to compensate for this loss or to maintain their osmotic balance, what they do is that they just drink enough water, or they just drink plenty of water. Okay, and so, see, I said in comparison to the freshwater fish, what they do is that they just lose their water, excess amount of water, in the form of dilute urine. So with this urine, they just lose enough ions too. So here the case is different. See, they are drinking in water. So what happens? Naturally, with this water, there are chances that they gain, or the ions or the monovalent ions just gain entry into their body, right? So here again, the chloride cells comes into picture, and see, these chloride cells, they do the excretion of these salts. Okay, and see, the chloride cells, they excrete out these salts in the case of Cheerios, whereas in elasmobranchs, it's different. The cells are different. They are the rectal glands that do the process, right? And so these cells, they just eliminate, or they just remove these ions from the body of the fish into the water. And here one thing to note is that the kidneys, they are with low filtration capacity as compared to the kidneys of freshwater fish, right? And see, I just, to conclude, I just want to say that, see, this freshwater fish, the basic difference, the freshwater, it's an aqueous environment where we have got the salinity, which would be normally less than 0.5 ppt. And in marine environment, we have the salt concentration, which would be more than, almost say, for 35 ppt. So what happens is that this basic difference, it decides on whether fish needs to drink water or not. Okay, and so depending on this process, the fish always they live in water, and this basic difference, they just decide upon whether to drink water, and in no matter what the case be, whether they drink water or they do not drink water, no matter whatever it is, they just move on with balancing the ionic concentrations in their body, right? And that's all for the day. And see, maybe I'll be back with yet another interesting topic. And bye for now.